Right. And
Okay, there we go. Welcome back, everyone, to Stormwatch. Willis is here. John, Brad. We are here to talk about Game 4 and Game 3 of the Carolina Hurricanes series versus the New York Rangers. As you know, I'm sure if you're here listening, Hurricanes are now down 3-1 instead of 3-0, so they avoided the sweep.
yes.
And it's good to get a win, even though I'm sure most fans are kind of feeling probably like you and I are, which is, you know, we're in dire straits. We're in dire straits, but it's nice to get a win, as you said before the podcast. What have you been feeling? You know, what were your feelings after Game 2? Talk about what happened in your eyes in Game 3, and then, you know, where we're at now after Game 4.
Boy, that's a tall order. After Game 2, you know, we're behind the 8 ball right off the bat, but it still gave us a chance if we could steal one of the later games from the Rangers. After Game 3, that was a heartbreaking loss.
Yeah.
And now, and you and I spoke about it, and that's why we delayed doing a video on it, is because we actually, you know, we were very depressed, and we just didn't really. And then we're very frustrated about after.
If you get swept immediately afterwards, what's the point of talking about Game 3 if it's just going to look like that in Game 4? Now, there were parts of Game 4 that did kind of ultimately look like that, but go ahead. Yeah. After Game 3, what are you thinking? And then, you know.
I'll be very honest. I just thought the series was over. And there's, I mean, my feeling.
Statistically, we're still at a place that, you know, let's be real. By most accounts, this is going to end poorly for the Hurricanes. But it's nice to get a win, as you said. And sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's fine. We'll talk about that because I have feelings on that as well.
Yeah.
But what I was saying, my feelings about the series kind of go, I guess, my level of confidence in the series is an inverse proportion or a direct proportion to our odds of winning the series. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's like I'm just being logical, and that's what.
So now they're up. Now they're up a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So
instead
of a
0% chance, or relatively 0% chance, your hope is now at 10% or whatever.
Yeah, I would even say a little bit higher.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously
it's not out of the realm of possibility.
No, it's not out of the realm of possibility.
To win 3 in a row.
It's out of the realm of likelihood, but that's different.
Right. But
so
it does feel good to avoid the sweep.
Because they certainly didn't deserve it. Same way, you don't want to see it twice in a row. We did it last year. We got swept by the Panthers, but everyone knows if you watch those games, those were incredibly tight games. Any one of those games could have gone any which way. And, definitely Game 2 and Game 3, in my eyes, that's how it was. It went to overtime in both of those games. They were both 1-goal games.
Right.
The Hurricanes, in my opinion, should have won both of those games. They outplayed the Rangers in both of those games, in my opinion. But it's been coming down.
They certainly outshot them.
Yes.
John. Go ahead. Continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sure we're going to talk about the same things, like the same narratives that everyone has been talking about in this series. We're going to touch upon because we're at the end of the rope here, and you gotta mention what the pitfalls are. And this year, there are significant pitfalls that we keep running into, and maybe they're personnel based. I don't want to poo-poo it too much right now. We'll do a season recap about it and talk about individual players and this and that. But it was good to get a win today. And I'm sorry, what was your question? I got derailed there a little bit.
No, that's my fault. No, but to reiterate your point, they did they put a graphic on the television that said the Canes' last 8 playoff losses have been by 1 goal.
Yeah, 5 of those have been in overtime.
Yeah,
that's an incredible.
Yeah. So by getting swept, quite recent, last year, and then I think there was a series, maybe it's a season 2 seasons ago, 3 seasons ago, we were swept too.
Yeah.
Um, it's just a bad rap for a good team.
Yeah,
Doesn't deserve it.
right.
And the stats kind of bear that out.
Yeah, and that's why, game 2 and game 3 are so hard, is because we get the result this night. And, there's a couple stats that I'll point to here in a second, which would suggest that we definitely deserved the win tonight. Compared to the Rangers. I'll show you those here in just a second. But
John,
yeah.
Versus the first 3 games, what was different about this game statistically?
Yeah, so we outshot the Rangers in most of the games. Do you have that pulled up? Could you pull that up for me?
Yeah. In the first period, the Canes had 10 shots, Rangers 8.
No, sorry. Just go through the series as shots on goal against each game. Total, just for each game.
I don't have that handy.
Okay, don't worry about it then.
Yeah.
Fine then. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, so I'm sorry. What's different about this game than the other games in terms of why we definitely won this game is going to be scoring or expected goals for and high danger chances for. Now, these stats, I don't know exactly how they go about getting these. Obviously, they're probably subjective to some degree. But this is from naturalstattrick.com, okay? Now, overall in the series, it's been a pretty even series in terms of expected goals for and expected goals against, and high danger chances for and high danger chances against. So the Hurricanes have 10.5 expected goals for in this game, or in this series, and the Rangers has 9.15. So just a one goal differential in terms of expected goals for. In terms of high danger chances for, the Hurricanes have 39 in the series as compared to 36 for the Rangers. But the Rangers have more goals in this series, right?
Yeah.
In the first 3 games, they got one more goal than us each of those games, okay? So that goes to show me that, they're just better at scoring goals, right? Their top guys are getting it done. Lafreniere is playing amazing this series. He's been excellent. He was excellent again today in Game 4. But then the difference was today, as compared to the other games, that differential was much, much higher. So
in our favor.
So high danger chances for us today in Game 4 were 14 as compared to their 7, okay? That's the most significant difference between all of the games, as well as expected goals for. We had an expected goals for of 3.23 compared to theirs as a 2.43. That's 0.8 differential there. Most of the other games are around 0.2, 0.3 in terms of that differential. And then in terms of high danger scoring chances, those gaps have been no more than 3 in any game, and that was only in Game 3. In Game 3, they had 6 high danger chances. We only had 3. But in Game 2, we had 16 apiece. In Game 3, we had 6. They had 7. And in Game 4, we had 14 compared to their 7. So we need to get a lot more really good looks to score the same amount of goals as them, right? That's what that stat kind of tells me.
But you know what's...
The other stat that is relative today is that the past 29 games that Igor Shesterkin has played in the playoffs, he's let in less than 3 goals. And we finally scored more than 3 goals. So what happens? You win the game. So, I was so nervous because we took a 2-0 lead, right? You start off the game hot. Both of those goals were early on in the game, right?
Very early on.
First 5 minutes, I think they were all 2 goals.
No, Nason's was at 13:27. So before the 7-minute mark, we had 2 goals.
Okay, so yeah. So 2-0, and then they get one back, and you're thinking, oh crap, here we go. Hurricanes then go back up by a 2-goal lead. Aho with a really nice goal.
Nice
so
play.
You're thinking, okay, we can do this. We don't necessarily have to score. We've got a 2-goal lead. We don't necessarily need to score more than 3 goals to beat them if we can hold them off. But they've got so much talent on this team that, it's nearly impossible to do. And like you said, Freddie didn't have the best game. Third goal just can't go in, especially with the series on the line like that. You can't be getting beat in that manner. And now give all credit to Lafreniere. Like I said earlier,
smart play.
He's been great all series. He hit the post. There were 2 posts for them at least in this series or in this game. You know, they had some good looks on some 2-on-1s and some, you know, rush chances. But the post came in and saved them. So, you know, the Hurricanes have to keep playing like that, where they have significantly more high danger chances to have a chance in this series, in my opinion.
Yeah, you know, you're talking about the expected goals and kind of you're talking about scoring.
Yeah.
The one thing you haven't talked about this game versus the previous 3.
Yep.
The one thing we haven't talked about this game versus the previous 3 is we stay out of the penalty box.
Yeah.
And like you predicted before the series started, you said that you felt good about 5-on-5. And the stats in the first 4 games have proven that out.
Yep.
5-on-5 we're winning.
Yep.
Stay out of the penalty box.
Yep. No power play goals for them today.
Big one for us. First one of the series, right?
First one of the series for us. The biggest one of the series for us. Now, it'd be nice to have had a couple of those earlier in the series. We wouldn't be in this situation.
Right.
But it is what it is.
So I was thinking about this, John, before we got on the recording.
Yeah. That's 2 straight games that we've also held them without. Now, they did get a shorthanded one last game, but they haven't scored on the power play in 2 straight games. And they scored twice in the first 2 games on each of those first 2 games. So, you know, we're winning the special teams battle. We won it. The only game we've won so far is the only game we've won the special teams battle. And we were good 5-on-5.
Gee, I wonder if there's a correlation.
I know. Well, you know, it's like, yeah, of course.
But you know what is interesting about this game? I was thinking about it before we got on. I wrote it down at 2 separate occasions in my notepad.
Yeah.
Brady until that goal, Brady Shea did not have a good game at all.
No.
If we would have lost this game, he would have looked back and said, "I had a terrible game and did not contribute."
He had a big miscue that led to one of their goals. I can't remember what it was.
He hesitated, and Cooley beat him right up the middle. That was a Brady Shea, you know.
Oh yeah, on that breakaway
on their first goal.
Yeah,
it was just, and he whiffed on a couple.
What did you think? Okay, yes, I agree. He had a rough game. You were going to mention something about Pesci. Is that relative to this conversation as well, just because the defense are being brought up?
So my eye test. This is a stat of this game. I haven't gone back and looked at the other games. My eye test says that Tony DeAngelo is playing pretty good hockey.
He's playing, for what we expect, he's playing pretty good.
But in this game, all 3 of their goals were scored when he was on the ice.
Yes, exactly. So how great is he playing?
But one of those, like we just talked about, that was Shea's fault.
Yeah.
And Tony couldn't catch up.
Yeah.
To the play.
Yeah,
I thought we played.
You have to shelter Tony, right? So that means Shea has to play excellent. So if he's not playing excellent, then that exploits both that, you know, him, Shea playing not excellent, and then Tony's, you know, it's easy to exploit him, right? Like Tony was great when he played with Slavin. That was the only year he was great. But you're playing with Jacob Slavin, and
Slavin isn't going to push.
Yeah,
and he's going to be defensively minded.
For Tony to be worth it in the lineup, you got to let Tony play Tony's game, which is driving offensive play. And that at times means being not the sharpest defensively, not as back as you need to be, getting caught out of position from time to time.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it just, you know, that's his game. He's not Cale Makar. He can't do both, you know, pretty effortlessly. Yeah, and it was apparent, you know, there were a couple plays where Adam Fox would make a move. You know, there was, I think it was in the second period, he kind of dangled a few guys, you know, right in the middle of the ice and wasn't really going anywhere, and then just threw it in. And Tony went to go pick up the puck, and by the time he went to go pick up the puck, someone else from their team had already jumped in front of him. It's like, well, those guys used to play on a line together. They thought to have very similar skill sets, but one's an elite version of that, and the other one's the Tony DeAngelo version of that.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, So we don't have any news on Pesci.
Not that I know of, no.
But
What
again,
did you think of the decision to play Freddie?
I was going to bring that up just now too.
Yeah.
I think the announcers thought it was a decent decision, or Rod staying true to his strategy.
Here's the thing. It's never a bad decision to go with Freddie. It's never going to be like, oh, clearly that's the wrong decision. But it's not. I don't know. Like, we're in dire straits. Like, if Rod Brindamore, if Rod Brindamore was coach, would Rod Brindamore have turned to Cam Ward as soon as he did when we won it in 2006? Would he have turned to him after just 2 games? Or would he try, maybe play him, maybe Cam wins one, and then put Gerber back in? Because Gerber had a great regular season.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
No, I think he probably would have.
Do you see what I'm saying, though? Like,
yeah.
It's not an apples-to-apples comparison this year.
But I think there could be a chance that Kochetkov plays in Game 5. I think
New York, you think so?
I think that Rod's... Listen.
I would like that. I honestly would like that. Go ahead.
What are the odds we're going to win? Now, the question is, does this coach admit that to himself and say, look, let's let Piotr in play in New York because we're going to lose this series anyway? Or do you just... I know you don't say that, but he's definitely a good goalie. I don't know. It's tough, right? Like you said, leaving Anderson in can never be the wrong decision.
Right.
But his save percentage of .866 today was not sufficient.
No, exactly.
Especially because of the Lafreniere goal. Goalies cannot. I mean, being a goalie's tough enough when you got 90-mile-an-hour pucks flying at you that you let in one like that.
I mean, the only game this series that hasn't had 3 goals scored against us was the game that Pyotr Kochetkov, that hasn't,
Yeah, no, I know.
3 in regulation.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, you're right.
He only let up
So
3 against them in the regular season in 2 games, or 1, or I can't remember, but he was excellent against them in the regular season. I don't know, man.
So let's talk about the next game. I actually think we're going to win the next game in Madison Square Garden.
I would love that. I can't let myself today was the first game this series that I didn't wear a jersey. I've been so distraught about the way we lost Game 2 and the way we lost Game 3 in overtime. Again, 1-goal game where we're out shooting the other team. It's a fairly even game, both of those, in terms of what I just said, in terms of high danger scoring chances, right? With they're just getting the finishes, right? Mm-hmm. We outplayed them in the sense that we owned the puck for more of those games than they did.
I want to look and see its shots on goal because I want to see.
But that's what I'm saying. Like you were bringing some optimism into it, and I appreciate that. I definitely need as much of that as I can get. But it was the first game where I didn't wear a jersey at all. All day or all during the game at all. Because I can't let my superstitions be a factor anymore.
All right.
The team has to be good enough to win games. I can't have any input. They've got to get it done. That's my theory. It's silly as it may be, but I'm just kind of expressing my level of distress, right? Like you said, your stress levels and your hope levels are equivalent to our percentage chances of winning this series,
exactly.
Right? And so after Game 3, they were nothing, and now they're a little bit. But I'm worried that if I get my hopes up, then it's kind of like a microcosm of the way it's been this series, which is the past 2 games before this, and even this game, because we only took the lead with 3 minutes to go in this one, something like that, 3.5 minutes to go.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is
3:11.
We're basically in the overtime of this series, right? in the sense that we've got to win. In the past 2 games, we've been in overtimes. Those have been, kind of must-win games. If you can steal game 2 at home, then that's great for going into a series with this team. When they have home ice advantage, and then game 3 is a must-win because you can't go down 3-0, right? And so now we go into overtime in both those games. I'm hopeful, especially game 3 where we score with, Svech scores with 90 seconds to go or something like that.
Right.
To give me that hope that, this series is going to be 2-1 at the end of this. Then we're going to win game 4 and make it 2-2. It's going to be tied up going back home or going back to New York.
Right.
And now I feel like, it's the overtime of the series in the sense that, well, I've seen how this goes. Like, we don't win in overtime, and we push this game through this game. We push this series into overtime, and I just my stress levels are too high to allow myself to get amped about it, to get excited about it.
Well, that's. I've seen so many playoffs in all different sports all throughout my life. I love sports. At this stage of my life, I don't want to invest too much emotions, but like I told you before we got on here.
Yeah, but this is what
I was so nervous. Yeah. I was so nervous. I was clenched up like this.
Yeah.
And because anything could happen. And the game was so tight.
Yeah.
But anything could have happened the last couple nights, our games.
Is mom with you, or is she?
No.
Okay.
She's in Florida. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Next game is when.
But yeah, okay. So what do you? All right. Well, let's. You've got some positivity. I'll let you pick. What's your prediction for Game 5? Give me a score.
I'm not gonna predict Kochetkov versus Anderson.
No, just give me a score and give me a goal scorer. Just one goal scorer and one goal, and the score line.
And the score.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it's 4-2. And I'm going to say...
Who gets the game winner and who gets the empty netter?
The empty netter's Svech.
Is it an empty netter or is it a 4-2?
Yeah, that's true. It could be just 4-2.
I just assumed with the way we're playing, with how tight this series has been, that it's going to be an empty netter.
Listen, we got some good scoring from our fourth line, I think. Is Kuznetsov on the fourth line?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Nason, they both 2 goals right off the bat.
Yep.
Who hasn't scored in this series?
Turbo, I don't believe. KK, I don't believe.
KK hasn't.
KK definitely hasn't. I know he
hasn't. I think KK's going to score.
Yeah.
And we're going to win 4-2.
4-2. KK is going to score, and Svech gets the empty netter. Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Well, thank you so much for listening. Go Canes.
Go Canes.
Game 5. We can do it. Believe.
Yeah. When is it?
Game 5 is, I believe, on Monday. Sorry, give me a sec.
Oh, I have it here probably.
13th. It's on Monday.
Yeah.
Monday, and then I actually have tickets to Game 6.
Oh man.
I know. I was talking to my friend about it, and I was like, given the odds, if they lose today, it is what it is, and at least I get my money back on the ticket.
You do?
On the Game 6 ticket, yeah.
Well, maybe that's your best bet.
So, it's like, if they stretch it to Game 6 and we lose in Game 6, then I'm going to be like, oh, well, I waste the money and we lose.
But you know what?
I know. And the Canes have had a great season. I'll show up and I'll support no matter what happens. I'll stay to the end of the game, even if they get blown out. Even if they get blown out 9-0, I'll be there till the end. And
one of these games,
I'll cheer them off the ice.
It seems like every playoff series, every Stanley Cup playoff. I
fucking hate Rangers fans.
Yeah.
I hate them, man. There's so many of them down here coming from Cary, man.
Yeah, it was pretty loud.
Yeah.
On TV.
Yeah.
When they scored.
The Canes fans were really loud, which was really nice. But, yeah, the Rangers fans were freaking loud.
Yeah. All right.
Guys,
Go Canes.
Thanks, everyone, for listening, and we will see you next time, hopefully shortly after the game on the 13th, to recap a Hurricanes win. Stretch it to Game 6, where I will be in attendance. We'll win that one, too. Bring it on home. It'll be the fifth time in Stanley Cup history that it's ever happened, Stanley Cup playoff history that it's ever happened. And the Hurricanes are going to do it. So we will see you guys soon. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.